Life with Louella, written and illustrated by Margaret Hurd. This week's episode, Fitness Freakout. "This is wonderful!" exclaimed Miles Molecule. "Check this out, you're not going to believe this." "What is it?" asked Millie the Millicent. "Yeah, what is it?" echoed Louella Snuggle Bunny. "My grandparents just bought a new house in Florida, and they've invited us to stay with them for the holidays," said Miles Molecule. "Just picture it. They're not far from Walt Disney World, and we can go to the beach every day." Millie the Millicent's heart sank. "The beach," she sighed. All she could think about is the idea of people seeing her in a bathing suit. "Do you think I'm fat?" Linnea asked her friends in the school cafeteria at lunch the next day. "Why do you ask?" asked Michelle. "My dad's been driving me crazy these days," sighed Linnea. "He keeps calling me Baby Elephant, and whenever I go to the fridge he makes these horrid trumpeting noises at me." "You think you're fat?" snorted Shelley. "I wanted to get a new bathing suit the other day, but I kid you not, all the new styles make me look like a female sumo wrestler." "Oh, Shelley," exclaimed Stephanie, "my mom's always nagging me to watch what I eat because she says extra pounds show up worse on smaller people." Millie sat there uncomfortably, not wanting to be involved in the conversation. She had her favorite lunch, zesty smoked kielbasa sausage on a bun with sauerkraut, and for dessert, lovely homemade rice pudding with cinnamon and raisins. However, the general tone of the conversation was rapidly weakening her appetite, and it looked like she was going to be dragged into it, whether she wanted to or not. "You'd look better if you lost some weight," said Michelle to Millie. "Think of all the guys who'd be attracted to you." "Well, I'm not really interested in other guys," said Millie, starting to blush. "I'm happy with Miles Molecule." "Did you ever think he dates you because he feels sorry for you?" asked Michelle. "Or because he can't get anyone else?" "Michelle," Louella interrupted. Michelle ignored Louella. "Keep putting on the pounds and he won't be interested in you anymore. You know what they say, inside every fat person is a thin person wanting to come out. If you want to keep him loving you—" "That does it!" shouted Millie as she stormed away from the table. "I'm never going to eat again! Never, never, never!" "Now you've really done it," said Louella, glaring at Michelle. "I was only trying to be helpful," said Michelle. The kielbasa sausage and rice pudding remained untouched as the girls at the table finished their lunch in uncomfortable silence. For the rest of the week, Millie the Millicent spent an average of at least 3 or 4 hours working out at the local fitness center, every day after school. She worked so hard, exercising like crazy, that she would come home exhausted, too tired to do her homework, and go straight to bed without any supper. Millie's grades in school were dropping drastically. Because she didn't eat and spent too many hours exercising, she was too tired to stay awake in class and seldom got her homework done anymore. "D-, exclaimed Mr. Cahugenflugel. "Millie, I'm worried. This isn't like you at all. Science was always your best subject, and now you get a D-. Look, if you're having any problems, you can feel free to talk to me any time. I'll understand. Millie? Millie!" To make matters worse, despite Millie's frantic efforts, she actually gained 3 whole pounds. "This is getting a bit ridiculous," said Louella. "You've got to eat something." "But I'm not hungry," said Millie. "Honest, not at all." Millie's stomach growled loudly and defiantly. "She's lying. I quite disagree." "At least have one of my carrots. They're not fattening," Louella offered. "You look exhausted," said Linnea. "Yeah," said Michelle. If you're this tired now, imagine what it's going to be like when you get married and have children. Just then, Millie burst into tears. "Ah!" she wailed. "I'm never getting married! Ah!" Millie took off from the table, sobbing uncontrollably like a baby, while everyone in the cafeteria stared in shocked silence. "I guess I've done it again," sighed Michelle. "Me and my big mouth." "It's not your fault," said Louella. "She's been starving herself and over-exercising. Anyone who allows themselves to get that exhausted is likely to become emotionally oversensitive. I've seen it happen to Margaret when she's gotten carried away trying too hard to diet before." "I'm worried about Millie," Miles Molecule said to Louella. "She's been acting so weird lately, I'm almost scared she doesn't love me anymore." "Of course she loves you," said Louella. "In fact, she's been knocking herself out trying to impress you." "Well, I'm not impressed," sighed Miles. "Every time I try to phone or visit, she's either not there or she's already gone to bed." "You're her best friend. You might be able to tell me what's wrong with her."
"It's got to be that crazy diet," replied Louella. "Ever since the day Michelle teased her in the cafeteria, she's been spending hours exercising in the gym, starving herself to lose weight because she got scared you wouldn't like her anymore."
"Hogwash!" gasped Miles Molecule. "That's got to be the craziest thing I've ever heard of. I've got to talk some sense into that girl."
"If I were you, I'd say it with flowers," suggested Louella. "You must make a special effort to let her know how much you appreciate her."
"Exactly. I'll show up at her door with a dozen roses." Later that evening, Margaret and Louella were at Millie's house trying to talk to her. There was a knock at the door. "I'll get it," said Millie. There stood Miles with a dozen beautiful red roses. "Why, Miles," she exclaimed, "you shouldn't have—" Bonk! Millie fainted and fell to the floor. "I was afraid something like this might happen," said Margaret. "I think we should get her to the hospital at once." To be continued.